Hey everyone, and welcome to Hero's Journey Physio Fitness. Our mission is guiding people to reclaim their health and become self-reliant. I'm your host, Dr. Cameron Hogue, and joining me is my co-host, Annabelle Rios.
All right, we are going live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Hero's Journey Physio Fitness. Today's episode is brought to you by Hero's Journey Physio Fitness.
The only place where you get your fitness.
Where we're breaking myth, spitting the truth, and making you laugh.
And now Annabelle and I have matching mustaches, so
yeah,
there's that.
There is that.
Man, so, I got butchered at work this week because of my mustache. People were just laying into me.
It's the firefighter mustache, right?
Or police officer, maybe?
Police officer?
I think police officers have mustaches.
Yeah, they do. You're right. Right.
Okay.
No, but thank you guys for always tuning in. We're looking at the numbers. They're always going up. So thank you for support. Keep sharing it. Keep telling people. Our goal is really just to help everyone on their journey of health and fitness. It's so confusing with what you see online, on the interweb, with everyone telling you need to do this, follow this, do that. No, this is wrong. This is right. And really, it just leads to inaction. It leads to confusion. And this is kind of what we're doing today's episode is we hope to break some of the same myths or same stories that we believed at one point and now we know really aren't true or really, they don't really matter as much as we used to think.
Yeah, these things are, like you're saying, lies or these myths, and they can hold you back. They Annabelle will talk about some of these. They definitely held us back. And if you find yourself in some of these too, it just is a good way to kind of break through plateaus, knowing you might be stuck in one of these.
Yeah, you can kind of get lost in the weeds.
Lost in the sauce, as Annabelle likes to say.
Lost in the sauce. What's the first one, Cam?
Okay, so we got down 10.
Oh yeah, we got 10.
We got 10 myths, lies that we used to believe, and I want to start us off with a good one, a juicy one. And this is here's the myth. The myth is muscle confusion is required for muscle growth. Now you might, if you've heard that, you're like, is that not true? And so here's the truth. The truth is
everybody knows that, right, Cam? You need to confuse the muscles. You need to one day do, I don't know, incline bench, and then the other one you need to do some weird variation. It's like you almost feel like you had to deal with these weird, different variations of each exercise to constantly shock and confuse each muscle group.
Yeah. Okay. So there is a part of that is kind of true. So your body after a while will adapt. Like if you keep doing the same exercise sets, reps, weight, all that kind of stuff, yeah, your body will adapt and you won't start responding. So there is a sense you need to kind of mix things up. But when I think when people say muscle confusion, they're talking like you're saying, Annabelle, next workout, it's got to be, instead of barbell curls and I got to do hammer curls because, I got to confuse the muscle. In reality,
I don't even know what I want to work out today. That way my muscles don't know what I'm working out today.
Yeah, I haven't even told myself what I'm doing when I go to the gym. They have no idea what we're about to do. It's the ultimate confusion. Wrecked. You know what? I'm going to confuse them so much, I'm not even going to go to the gym.
Surprise! Gotcha.
Merry Christmas. So when people say that, they are talking about I believe like every workout, you're constantly trying to confuse them so that they can grow. And we all know that the main way muscles grow is actually called progressive overload, which in a sense could be the enemy of muscle confusion. So muscle confusion is saying you're switching up all these variables each time in order to confuse the muscle to make it grow. While progressive overload says, no, we're going to maybe change one thing over a period of time. And maybe when that stops working, then we change another thing. So you are still confusing the muscle or changing things, but it's not this like flip, flop, flip, flop, flip, flop. type of deal.
It's more like that stress and recovery adaptation that you're trying to
Exactly.
go through.
Yeah, if you are constantly switching up your workouts, then your body might never be able to go through that. Like you said, you stress the muscles, then your muscles recover, and then your muscles adapt. And, for a while, you could probably, I mean, again, there's studies that show like if you never worked out and then you bench pressed and then you got on a biking program, your bench might increase a little bit because you went from being inactive to active. So, like, even just doing something like that, you can get a little bit stronger. So, like, you can confuse the muscles and switch it constantly and get some results. But over the
As
long
a
haul,
newbie.
as a newbie, as a,
Mhm.
as a beginner, but as progressive overload, that's actually going to allow you to make the most progress.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, but there's the adding more weight, adding more reps, um, tempo. There's a lot of different ways you can play around with progressive overload.
But I still hear the muscle confusion one, like, still, and
Yeah,
still, yeah, and still kind of like, what's the best way to put it? So, like,
common knowledge.
common knowledge is like, so there are videos of Arnold Schwarzenegger talking about shocking the muscles and confusing the muscles. But let me tell you guys something. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he applied progressive overload and he had similar routines. And yeah, he might go in one day and do something different, but also he was a high level bodybuilder who had been working out for many, many, many years. If you're a newbie, you don't just go in there and shock the muscles by changing it up. You won't make any progress. That's what I gotta say about that
Oh
animal.
wow, I did not know that about Arnold. But then again, he was also working very, very hard.
Yeah, he was having sometimes, like, before his shows, he was doing 2-a-days. So, and some of his workouts were hours. He was doing up to 20 sets worth of exercises per body
Gosh,
part. So he
and he
was,
was on the sauce, right?
yeah, on a lot of sauce.
He was
So,
empowered by plants. Is that what you're saying?
no, D-ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. Or the first myth lie we used to believe was you got to constantly confuse the muscle. What we believe now is progressive overload. Annabelle,
Yeah.
what's the second myth?
This one for me, I want to be honest with you guys. It was a struggle for most of my life. Is and I think for most people, and it's the whole concept or idea that this one diet is the right way of eating. So the one diet to rule them all.
If
This is
you're
why you can't lose weight. If you're a
if you're a Lord of the
keto,
Rings fan, you know what we're talking about. One ring, baby.
the one diet to rule them all. But I mean, you see that time and time and time again. There's carnivore, there's paleo, there's vegan, there is pescatarian, there's this, there's that. And you kind of just get lost and you go from one plan to another thinking that's the problem, that's the issue. Oh, it's because now fruits are the problem. No, it's meat's the problem. Dairy's the problem.
And then you're
And,
like, what the heck do I even eat?
and then you're like, you're at the grocery store, you're like, can't eat this, can't eat this.
Yes. And there's actually been a lot more push within, like, marketing for the vegan and vegetarian type diets, because you'll see a lot of Netflix things on Netflix and stuff like that, because that type of eating and dieting can be more integrated with, like, ethics and people's sense of morality and stuff like that. So they really want to push it more because they have a sense of maybe duty for that. But those two in general are kind of pushed more than, like, some of the other diets. But this camp can be for, like, any of them, because people are diehard keto,
Yeah.
diehard carnivore. You have to eat this way if you're wanting to make the gains and
Oh,
become more
even
healthy.
fasting too. That's another one that I forgot. Fasting,
Yeah,
which is not really a certain type of food you eat, but it's still like a way of eating.
yeah. And I think, Annabelle, were you talking about, like, it's starting to label the foods as, like, good and bad? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people end up having to even go through food therapy. I think that's a thing where they like they have they literally can't eat certain foods because for so long they thought that that food was bad. Whether that might be meats, whether that might be vegetables, whether that might be whatever the camp that you were following was saying that you couldn't eat.
yeah,
And the thing is, like, one, food is just food. Yes, there are certain things you should eat more of and others less. Typically, you want to eat majority of your foods being whole foods, which is
yeah,
nutrient dense foods. And then After that, we've talked about it, but we also like, Peter Attia's framework for nutrition. And
Yeah.
it's picking one of those 3 different paths to follow.
Yeah. So this lie is, there's this one diet, they kind of rule them all. And what we're saying and what kind of we found out is you basically just need to eat whole foods. Everybody's going to respond different. If you respond well to the more vegetables and stuff, do it. We know there's people that have eaten just meat for over 10 years now and are thriving. So you can't go around saying that meat's bad if someone has been doing that for 10 years and is doing really well. So everyone's bodies are going to respond different, but on both camps, those are whole foods. So,
And I think a lot of times one thing you see is that they're removing a lot of the heavily processed process. I don't want to say processed because then people are like, oh, everything processed is bad. Most foods are processed to an extent.
right.
It's that
But there's
it's
different levels of processed. So
yeah.
like the ultra processed, there's like minimally processed, like
Mhm.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, that one's a big one. That was a big one. The thing most people are constantly looking for is that the right way of eating, that right diet.
Yeah.
What's the next one, Doc?
Okay. So the number 3, this one definitely appears in the fitness space. And I think my physical therapy background has helped kind of debunk this one. Labeling exercises as good or bad. You'll see like someone on the internet going, never do this exercise. You're going to die and implode and you're going to give yourself, tear your shoulders up. And it's like, that's a myth. You can't start labeling exercises as good or bad. All exercises can be beneficial in their proper place and context. Like, yes, do you want to try and upright row 250 pounds? Yeah, that's not going to be that great for your shoulder. But, being able to build up some endurance in an upright row and, because, okay, let's take the upright row, for example, because some people say, because when you're upright rowing, that's the shoulder impingement position. As a PT, it's like, hey, that's the Hawkins-Kennedy test. And that's what puts your shoulder in internal rotation and overpressure. And, why would you do an exercise that puts your shoulder in an impingement position? It's like, but like, if we don't do any of that, when we actually have to do that in real life, we're not going to be strong. It's going to actually lead us to potentially injury. And it's like, yes, you don't want to overload that position, but you need to do it.
It's almost like not understanding not every exercise is meant to go heavy. There's
Right.
limitations with certain movements.
Yeah.
It's like the Jefferson curl where it's like, nobody don't do the Jefferson curl or don't do squats. Squats are terrible for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How many times I've heard, don't do back squats because it's horrible for you. And it's like, how do you expect to be strong in a squat movement if you can't load it? And it's like, does everyone need a barbell back squat? It's like, maybe not. But there's different types of squat. You can front squat, you can goblet squat, you can sumo squat, all these different types.
Would you say it's maybe safe to say that most people try to do a variation of that movement that they can't do yet, and then they end up getting hurt?
Yeah. So like, yeah, if you're a newbie and you're just used to doing like hack squats, let's just say, or leg press, and then you're like, I can do pretty heavy weight. Let me go do some back squat. You're not used to that movement pattern because those are machine-based things. Like, you're not involving the entire body. So like when you put load on your back and you're having to call on your shoulders and your core and have everything move as a unit, like free weight versus machines, like, yeah, you might get injured because your body's not used to that. No matter how strong you are on those other ones, you need to kind of build up with that movement pattern.
And then it gets labeled as that's a terrible exercise. You shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when people get into this mindset of like, exercising is going to get you injured. My friend got injured, and it's like, yeah, things happen. We did a whole episode on injury rates with all the sports, weightlifting being included, and it's at the bottom. It's one of the lowest.
It's like you need to know your level of where you're starting, because your starting point is a better way to put it, and then build your way up, and then also focus on the technique.
Right. So don't just get into the mindset of this exercise is good, this exercise is bad. They can all be beneficial in their proper place and context. So what's number 4, Annabelle?
Oh, shortcut to fitness. Insert whatever thing. This is your shortcut to a six pack, to whatever it is, to getting shredded, man.
Shortcut to boulder shoulders.
In 90 days. 90 days is key.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they get you. It's like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh gosh, in 90 days? Yeah, I can do that for 90 days. But really, there is no shortcut.
Yeah, most of that is pretty much just a marketing scheme,
Money grab.
money grab. Now, I kinda know what maybe they're trying to say, that there might be one program that is better than another program, and by doing this program, you will get your results maybe faster than another, and that is somewhat true. Like, there are some people designing garbage programs out there that, you know
True.
so there is that, but how it's marketed is like,
But most
it
of the time, it's not that, though.
most of the time, I'm just giving some people the benefit of the doubt
Well,
here.
you're right. It could be that, yes, in some cases, if you have the proper training and nutrition plan, it will get you there in a not just a faster pace, but a sustainable pace where you can keep the results.
Yeah, so there is that aspect, but most of the time this is marketed as like, "Oh, it's gonna be easy, it's gonna be a shortcut. You don't actually have to do the hard work. You don't actually have to lift heavy weights. You don't actually have to go on a run, you know? You could just do the Thigh Master and you'll get ripped."
Do you remember? Okay, when it comes to abs, there is always these infomercials, shortcuts to a six pack. Did you ever see this little seat that you would sit on and
Go like
spin?
this. Yeah. That was so dumb.
I never bought one, but I believed it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I need. I need to get that.
Yeah, they just get some jacked guy or gal that's never done that machine before, that's been working out for 15 years doing toes to bar, and then puts them on this machine, and it's like, "Look how ripped I am," and it's like, "Bro,
Oh,
that's just marketing."
that's what I'm missing.
So, but honestly, a lot of people we fell for this. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, like,
I did. Yeah,
you see this stuff online, you're like, "Yeah, let me just do this
I'm
workout."
sitting on one right now.
I'm t Hannibal, you need to return that thing, man. Bad PR. So what actually is not a shortcut. Any outcome, any dream outcome is on the other side of hard work and time. That is not sexy, but it's the truth.
It doesn't sell.
It doesn't. But you got to put in the work if you want the outcome. There's no shortcut. There might be more efficient paths, but there's no shortcut.
Yeah. Wonk wonk wonk.
Womp womp.
The other one I think we see a lot, Doc, is don't do cardio. Cardio is going to kill your gains. It's bad for your joints. It's going to make it harder for you to recover.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. I'm sure you've heard a lot more in the PT clinic.
Yeah. I think this one's actually kind of been big recently, the past couple years of like, there was this trend of like, you know, because most people when they go to work out, they jump on the treadmill and they think they're going to lose weight, and like, yeah, there is a sense that you can't just do cardio only if you're trying to like build muscle, lose body fat. Like, it's a great source of exercise, but like, you're not going to build muscle running. Um, so like, then there's this big push to be like, okay, don't do cardio, lift weights. And then that got people like, yeah, let me get to the gym and start lifting weights. And it kind of turned into like, cardio is bad. Don't do cardio. Like, it shouldn't be in your routine. Don't do this at all. And it's like, cardio definitely has its place. The don't do it is a myth. Like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Like, like your heart health is important. Like, there's plenty of studies that are showing, people who have, excuse me,
VO2
improved
match studies.
VO2 max studies, and people who have great zone 2 cardio, like this aerobic base, they have a longer lifespan and health span than those who have lower, VO2 maxes and aerobic capacity. So like, we don't want to sleep on cardio. I think there's just been a big push to kind of like outlaw it and be like, you just need to lift weights. Heavy squats are as good for your heart as, a long run. It's like, that's not true. That's kind of a lot.
And with like proper programming, you can do both.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't advocate for just a running only program unless that's what you like and that's your goal and stuff like that. Like, there needs to be some sort of weightlifting in there to keep everything nice and strong and your joints and all that kind of stuff. And it's been proven to reduce injury for runners and bikers and swimmers. But that point aside, you need to do some cardio.
And if you can run, start walking. Walking is a good way to build that base until you can start until you are able to run.
Yeah, because that's kind of another little myth, like subpoint underneath don't do cardio is like walking's not cardio and walking's not good for your heart health. And it's like, so you'd rather me sit? That's better for my heart than walking? It's like some people are just, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So number 6. Again, I think this is like a pendulum and things swing back and forth. And
It's a lot of these, right? You kinda
yeah.
yeah.
So this myth that Annabelle and I heard was don't use machines. Have you ever heard that? It's like free weights, just do kettlebells and barbells and dumbbells. And it's like, we love those things, love them. I personally don't have any machines because I have a garage gym and
Same.
those things are expensive. But like, don't do machines. Like, ask any bodybuilder. Like, machines are crucial to their routines. Like, the machines have their time and place that you need to use. And I do think it comes from a sense where it's like machines are quote unquote inferior to like free weights because of the stability aspect. Like a machine, you have a set range and arc of movement versus free weight, you're having to stabilize and push through. And it's like, yeah, totally understand that. Like, it's free weights are more real life, all that kind of stuff. But like, if you're really trying to get the mind muscle connection, you actually want to eliminate some of those extra variables where you can just focus on the squeeze. That's why a lot of bodybuilders will do that. So they can actually get that mind muscle connection, load those muscles, feel the squeeze, and they don't have to worry about some of those other variables. So they definitely have their time and their
Yeah,
place.
and I think a lot of them, again, it depends on what you're training for, but you'll hear them say, "You can train closer to failure, and if you do fail, there's some of those added risks are removed."
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely easier to fail on a leg press than a back squat for sure.
So again, I think they're great for a lot of different things. Maybe you're a beginner and you can't do certain free weight exercises. Start with the machines until you get stronger.
Yeah. Totally agree with that.
So yeah, for a while I was kind of like, don't do machines, and now I'm like, okay, machines they have their place
They should be in it.
in
They
a
should be,
in a good program, you
yeah,
know.
they should be in your workout for sure.
Hmm.
I don't think they should dominate your workout, but they should be in there.
Yeah.
All right, Amber, what is number 7?
Oh, similar to a lot of these, it's like they get you as a marketing. They're like, this is either it was always like insert trend, insert whatever, but it was always saying this is a missing ingredient to your success, whether that's a superfood, whether that's like some sort of new biohacking, whether that's I don't know. There were so many different things that people.
Yeah, you get these ads. It's like if the missing ingredient for your success that's holding you back, literally from the dream outcome, is avoid fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Take this T-Tex Max,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff.
And I'm not gonna say that some of those things aren't true. Like you hear take a cold bath, do sauna, do this, do that. All those things are very, very helpful. I'm not gonna say that they're not. But as well, we try to focus on what a beginner needs because most of you listening are either a beginner or intermediate. Those are things that you can worry about later. It doesn't matter if you're not training, if there's one variation of doing I don't know, a squat variation or whatever exercise. It's, oh, this is a secret variation or technique that you need to follow to stimulate muscle growth. I'm not saying that's not true, but if you don't work out, it doesn't matter. Or
Yeah. So like, are saunas great for people's health? Yeah. Are they as good as going on a run? No. Should you do both? Probably. But like Annabelle was saying, one is more important than the other. The biohack, the sauna, the cold plunge, the superfood, the supplement, the whatever they're selling you or whatever they're saying is not as important as the basics. Annabelle, what are the basics?
you need a good solid foundation before you can build or you need to build a solid foundation before you add all these different things into your routine. A lot of times we're seeking shortcuts by looking for the superfood when we're still kind of eating like crap to solve
Yeah.
all our problems. So meaning you got to sleep right, you got to train right, you got to start eating right, and the secret sauce that puts it all together is you have to consistently do that for a while.
Yeah.
It takes time.
It kind of makes me think. What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
I was kind of thinking like, while these things are great, like cold plunges, all
Yeah,
these
they're
things,
great.
like there's a lot of proven benefits. It's almost like those things are the furniture, like if you're like in a house, but the basics are the house. So without the basics, you just have furniture on a lot. But you need to build the basics and you get this house, and then you can start furnishing the house with all these other, sort of things, and like can kind of add to it. But you want the house first, or else you're just going to sit on the couch and get rained on.
Yeah, it is true. It's like you get lost on how to decorate, what furniture you want to put in, and this and that, but you don't have a house.
Yeah.
You don't have other things, and yeah, train. Oh, I guess maybe sleeping. We haven't talked about it, but just try to get better sleeps. 7 to 9 hours, sometimes 6, depends on the people. Training consistently 3 times, maybe 4 times per week is a good start. 2 if you're really a beginner. Compound lifts for the most part. We have a lot of episodes. Eating right again. Just try to eat whole foods for the most part.
Yeah.
What's the
Okay.
next one, Cam?
Okay. Number 8. I have fallen for this many
Oh,
a
me too.
times back in the day. And this is the myth. You need to follow this influencers or celebrities workout program to look like them. I can't tell me how many times, back in the day, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine workout, I'm like, click, 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 click.
That was our generation, man. I was like, oh, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. Okay.
I'm literally gonna do his workout animal, and I'm gonna look just like him in the movie. And or Dwayne Johnson's 6-week workout program, or you see this
See, now
influencer
it's like Thor. What's
Thor.
his name? Chris
Chris
Hemsworth. Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
something like
We'll
that.
call him Thor.
Yeah, do his workout, and you'll look like him. And it's like, that's not gonna happen. Like, that's a lie. That's a myth. Don't fall for that.
But you just eat it up.
They just look so good. Nom, 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 nom. But you know what I'm talking about, though. You're like, guys, you look at another guy and you're like, I want to look like that guy. And if he did this program, I'm going to do it. And the reality is, they might or might not have done that program. There might or might not be drugs involved. There might or might not have been like a foundation that they've been doing in the past. Like, so it's not the whole story. You're not going to look like them. You need to you need to stick with the basics.
But even nowadays, I think it's become a bigger problem with the internet and having more access to these fitness influencers that they're selling you their program where, like you said, maybe they didn't follow that program. Maybe they did.
Maybe they're on PEDs.
Something they don't want to talk about. And they say that they're natural.
Hey, have you ever seen that old movie? I think it's called The Benchwarmers. Is that baseball movie? And they're playing in this tournament, and it's like they were like supposed to be young, and this like 50-year-old like former professional baseball player comes to the umpire and he goes, "Let me see your ID," and it's like an ID that says "I am 10," and it's got like money in it.
Cartoon drive.
Yeah, it's a cartoon drive, and it's like I just see like those influencers being like, I'm not on drugs. This is what I did.
They turn in a little drawing of like, I'm actually, yeah.
So that's number 8. What's number 9?
So I think a lot of times for myself in the past, I would get so consumed or obsessed with information, with learning, which is great. It's all great. And at some point along the way, you believe the lie that information is transformation. Not to say that you don't need to learn something to change, but you get the satisfaction, you get this dopamine rush of like, oh, I'm consuming all these books, podcasts, videos. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm changing. But really, you're not doing anything. You're so caught up in how to run, how with the proper shoes, the proper this, the proper that, blue, 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 and you're learning all these sayings, and you're saying, okay, now I'm ready. But then you might not end up doing it at all.
That actually reminds me of a teaching of Jesus in the Bible, where it's like, a wise person implements these things that I'm saying. It's like a wise man building his house upon the rock. And then like the foolish person who hears these things, but then doesn't do them. It's like building your house upon the sand. And it's like, as Annabelle's saying, you can assume all this information, but if you don't take action on it, just it's like building your house on the sand. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no transformation involved.
I think part of it, or for some of you, I don't want to speak on your behalf, is like you feel like you're changing by learning. Or maybe you're worried that you're doing things wrong or that you're falling for a myth. But I
Okay.
want to tell you from personal experience, maybe you are, maybe you're not. It doesn't matter. It's better to start and learn
Mhm.
you're doing something wrong than not take action and then wake up 5 years later and saying, "Well, I still haven't decided on how to do X or what I really think about Y," and you made no progress instead of working on it, trying to make progress, and then figure it out as you go.
Yeah. And then this last one's a little heavier one, but number 10 is the lie and myth that fit people don't struggle with body dysmorphia. And no matter where you are on your journey, no matter what your perception of your body is, a lot of people struggle with this, whether they have a six pack, whether they don't. As you know, Annabelle and I called it the
Keg,
keg. Yeah, the keg.
or whether
Um,
you're really, really skinny.
yeah, everybody to some degree struggles with body image and all that kind of stuff. So to think that because if you get to a certain, you know, uh,
Level,
level, yeah, or
quote
body
unquote.
fat,
Mhm.
that you won't have this self doubt or this body image issue is a myth. That comes more through um, it comes more through other things, not so much in the health and fitness space. So I don't want to get preachy and stuff like that. So that comes, yeah. Anyway, that comes through
Yeah,
knowing your worth, knowing that you're loved, valued by God, all that kind of stuff. So, but that's number 10, a little heavier
yeah.
one.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's just having grace and compassion for other people and knowing that everyone has to struggle, and even though you don't understand and you're like, "Oh, how can you struggle with a six pack?" Or how I'm sure life must be easy. I mean, you just don't know what someone is going through and what their inner demons that they're facing are.
That's right. That's right, man. Um, do we have a call to action for anybody, Annabelle?
Oh, did any one of these stand out to you as you were listening? And you're like, I'm sure there are. Let us know which one, and if there's any other ones that, well, maybe you don't know it's a miss. That might be part of it. But if you do know it's a miss, let us know. We're curious to see what you guys think. Do you have anything else, Doc?
No, that's it, man. We just want everyone to know that we're all human and we should not seek perfection, but daily improvement. All right.
All right. See you
See you
guys.
guys.